one, take one. Let's see what we working with. Coming on now. Coming on now. Let's see what we got. You know, you know, see what we're up to. It's a lot of stuff to get into, so we're gonna see. You know. What's up? What's up? What's happening? So you and I shared some laughter today. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I cracked up off of your um uh, you know, yep. Them Lakers got you smiling. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying. And Jamal Murray came out and said that him and Jokic are the best duo going, which a lot of people don't talk about. I don't know why Jamal Murray can't get arrested if he tried. He just can't. Severely. Severely. Like, and I'm glad you've seen this with your own eyes because I grew up a lot of stuff you ask me about sometimes, and I tell you, sometimes Two Raw talks about it, people talk about it, right? But it ain't nothing like when you see it with your own eyes where you're like, this guy gets no love. They treating him like he ghost. And they acting like he ain't bad. Like you put him in any other situation, there's always one like that. Always one. Well, back in the day there were more, you know, you know. So I, you know. Well, he's a now you want to talk about a role player. He's the closest thing to a role player that you got. I'm just talking about basketball. What's up with you? ADR. What's up? KCP definitely was a big plus. They got him from the Lakers. That was a big plus. So, and I do appreciate you, Tia, for keeping me informed with certain things because you got some good sources, and so I do some videos on it. I touched into a few things, did some videos today. So, but yeah, he don't get no love though. I mean, I like KCP as a role player. And he ain't, he ain't. Let's not. I'm not gonna say nothing crazy, but he comes and does what he do. I thought Bruce Brown was crazy to take that money and leave them because I thought that was a good fit for him. Would I be shocked or surprised? I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. I don't think I know diehard Laker fans don't want to hear that though. Ooh. And they play the Pacers, right? They play the Pacers. Yeah, it could be done. That's gonna be tough to overcome. That's gonna be tough to overcome. I mean, that's a tough series. Not so much because of the season series, but because of the style. That's why. So Well, if they you know, if they can find a if they play defense, if Drew Holiday was still there, everybody owns Dame at this stage. Everybody owns Dame. Who don't own Dame? But they don't do that though. See, if Brook Lopez was a bigger part of the offense, I'd say they spanked Indiana. Because Indiana don't play no defense. That's a fact. How do you brutalize them? You post them up. And then you make them play inside out and rely on long range shots. But if the Bucks ain't playing no defense and they're not punishing them with Lopez in the interior, and you got to rely on Dame to drive and make it happen. But if they beat Indiana without Giannis, they'll probably go to the finals. I'll say it that boldly because they need him later rounds if they beat Indiana. I'll make a bold statement. Ted likes my bold take, so I'll make a bold one. If they beat the Pacers, they'll go to the finals because Giannis will be back, and I think they'd be hard to beat, especially if they got a whole series with Dame and Giannis comes back and because they got to play. Yeah, and ain't no guarantee though. And to beat Sacramento, they got to have Draymond have a good game. Wiggins got to have a great game, and Kuminga's got to come up big. And you know what Steph's got to do. So, good luck. I'm rooting for Miami because Miami is my team. I'm a Heat fan. That's who I want to see go all the way and do it. I don't believe they can because I think the lack of a superstar, size, and I don't know if their bench is going to be able to do it. I want to see the Heat do it, but that's my team. I think Denver should be able to be the team to win it all, though. I don't think no one's better than the Nuggets. But would I have a problem if, I don't know, like, there was uh, OKC, New York? Would there be some? Would I have a problem if there was something different in the finals? Nope. They already did because the slip happened because of the bench, but they don't have a banana peel to unravel. That's the problem. Unless Terry Rozier can get hot and they can avoid what I call 6-game series bug syndrome. They can find a way to get a series done in 5 and, you know, get past a round or 2 and don't get caught up, then yeah. But I think it's going to be tough. It's the way they put themselves behind the 8 ball. Well, for y'all to win, y'all got to play with y'all got to play like a 3-headed stud. KD, Bradley Beal, and Book got to turn it up where everybody's scoring 25 to 30 a night. Okay. Then you got to get like the unknown role player that no one don't see that's a 20 off the bench to start that cooks for y'all. And then y'all got to play some mid-range defense. If y'all can find a way to keep your main 3 cooking and y'all can get a 4th guy to come up big, yeah, that's what y'all need. Phoenix needs 4 or 5 guys. They need 4 or 5 horses. They need to play like Denver does. If they can get that, they could be a problem. But that's the only way. But if y'all play this, Booker scores 38 and KD scores 23 and Bradley Beal does 17, you ain't winning. You got to be all in. You got to bring buckets. And then you got to get Bull or somebody else got to step up for y'all. That's the only way Phoenix got a chance because that hero ball and that fall back ball and that laid back vibe gonna get Frank Vogel fired. You don't have that luxury this year. You don't have it anytime that KD's there, no way, because you're just not that good of a team. You don't have that luxury. Bring him on. You need to do something that no one sees to get the fight. You got to have the kind of fight that OKC had, but you got to do it in the postseason. And that's what KD got to come up big, and Book's got to come up big, and Bradley Beal got to come up big. Because they got to be the trio that you don't want to have to deal with. Now, we being honest, yep, but he has to be consistent. He has to score about 15 or 20 a night as well. They need those kind of horses. If we're being honest, Denver, Phoenix, and Minnesota, and those are the only teams I can think of right now that's got those kind of horses that I see that could do that. If they attack them and if they can force Tatum into being uncomfortable and make Jaylen Brown beat them, then yes. They have to strategize the right way. But Miami can't beat Boston trying to play talent for talent. That's not how you beat them. That's not how you beat them. That's how you have to beat Boston. They're the more talented team. But then it's the fundamentals. Jimmy Butler has to take over. Bam has to do it. Tyler Hero has to come up. Duncan Robinson got to come up. They got to get pieces, and Terry Rozier going to be huge, and Love will be huge. So they have to get possessions. They have to match White off the bench. They have to match Porzingis. They have to draw them into a kind of a battle where it don't be, they have to get them physical and get them rugged. They got to make them play dirty and ugly. They don't have the talent to beat them in a shootout. So I know what it takes for Miami to beat them. I know. I know what it takes to beat Boston, period, because if you get Tatum playing ugly and you get him shooting crazy and he ain't getting to the free throw line and he gets kind of loose and not driving, he has a tendency. He don't really have to lock on him. All he has to do is make Porzingis pretty much play inside out. Because Porzingis likes to be cute and fade. So with Porzingis, you make him spot that three. Bam has to kind of balance him out where he scores, points and gets rebounds. But what he has to do with Porzingis is basically make him put the ball on the ground, make him look to pass, make them chew up clock. They have to play him in a way that they got to play him like a back alley. Yeah, but he can be taken out. What Boston's trying to do with Porzingis is make him third, fourth option. That's what he's playing for at this stage. He went from being a third option in Dallas, a first option, second, third. Now he's fourth option. But if you smart with Miami, you make him feel himself. You got to make him think he's the man. It's a tack that they have to use. But the worst thing they can do, though, is get caught where they let them play, because they're going to be streaky. But again, I'm not worried about Boston's defense, because there ain't much that separates them from Miami. It really ain't. It's only different if you get some real upsets, not where the refs come involved, not where there's a lot of politicking. If you get something really good, like you get, they're not going to get it this year. They're not getting it this year. The problem is because again, like I said before, James Dolan, if they had a different owner, I believe their fortunes would be different. I know their fortunes would be different. No, you don't. No, you don't. Who's a cherry picker on your team? If you had such a cherry picker, you wouldn't have to resort to having 35 free throws every night to team 15 and winning by 3 or 4 points. You ain't got no. Dinwiddie is streaky. He don't really fit. Okay, for Eddie, cherry pickers are guys who basically you don't ask them to play no defense, no assists, no rebounds, just score and shoot. That's it. They freestyle. Now, if a guy comes in and he just makes points, that's all he's asked to. Because he'll probably have like 15 or 20 points, 1 or 2 assists, maybe a rebound, maybe a steal, maybe not. No blocks. He just asked just to score. He just asked to get open, shoot threes, just score points. That's all. That's what cherry pickers mean. It's free ball. You play all offense, no defense. That's all you do. That's it. Now, if we're talking defense, you're called a stopper. You don't see that no more. You don't hear that term no more. Teams don't bring stoppers in no more. Stopper used to be a dude who would have a line like Draymond Green, 3 points, 12 rebounds. No, but see, no, because Steph is not a cherry picker. Steph actually gets rebounds, he gets assists, he actually gets steals. He'll even block a shot or two. He ain't no liability. No, Steph's not a cherry picker. Mm-mm. Wrong example. Wrong example. But I'll give you a good example today. It would be what James Harden would be like today. Yeah, because he really don't play nothing. I mean, the Murray is the better player, but Trey Young is a cherry picker. That's what the Lakers want. That's what the Lakers want. The Lakers are gonna make a move for Trey Young in the offseason. That's the word. Yeah, you just need a guy who can score a bunch of points, stand there and shoot. Don't ask him to do nothing. It's kind of like the window dresser. You ever go to the mall or you see a woman in the window, she's the model. Like the dummy that's in the window? That's what you ask. To look pretty. You ain't there to get dirty. It's not his size, it's his whack game. Yeah, he do. Thank you, Ted. Thank you. It ain't his size. It's not got nothing to do with no size. He doesn't play the full court. He got a good right on the top of the key, like he can take you. He's got a pretty good passing game. He don't play no defense. He basically stands and waits, shoots long shots. That's what he get paid to do. To be honest with you, if you saw him in college, he hasn't changed. He gained a little weight and he's got a little more strength and I had to learn to the NBA game, but he really fundamentally, it ain't a lot changed with him. It's actually worse because he turns the ball over a whole lot, you know. Ain't got to do with size. He's told to just do one thing. He's a great example. And what he got going for him is he won that postseason game. He got to the West Eastern Conference Finals a few years ago. He gonna live off of that for like 20 years. He gonna get him some as Ted and I would tell you, he gonna get him some Fisher Price there. More so latter. The latter years of his OKC he did. He cherry picked in DC. In a lot of them triple doubles he cherry picked for sure. That's why he fell in my doghouse. Because I knew he was jiving. But he was a great talent, you know. But I always said the only man I ever seen that could play 21 by himself in the NBA. The only one. He did. He did. But he didn't do triple doubles. But he did play 21. You right. You right. You right. He did. And that's probably why I'm not, me and Iverson always had I always had an uncomfortable relationship with him. Who are the players you had an uncomfortable relationship with? And what I mean is, yeah, they were great, but you thought they were kind of overrated and they kind of you had a love hate thing. Yeah, he did. He sure did. Because I remember Tony Kukoc played with him, and Tony Kukoc came out and said, if this was like what Jordan was like when he was younger, I never see the ball. I said, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. He was one of those guys I had a love, loathe relationship with. And there's a reason why I'll never put him in the same conversation with Isaiah Thomas and Zeke. I'm talking about Zeke. I just didn't like the way sometimes he just turned me off with his game. And Westbrook was another one. I'm turned off by Trey Young too. In three different ways. Because Westbrook just sometimes would push Steven Adams out the way just so he get a rebound to get a triple double. And I sit there and I'm like, and then Iverson would just ball hog, take it on top, shoot, and then frail and look for fouls. Sometimes he get them, sometimes he wouldn't. And he always like to say, I play with my heart on my sleeve and my emotion. I said, who is everybody? And Trey Young, it's just that he just stands there and he's just he be doing he do one of the window shopping. So yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's why that's one of the reasons why he's not at higher ranked on my GOAT conversation, if you must know. What about Karl Malone? What about Karl? I never called Karl a cherry picker. You got to explain that one time. I mean, I can understand people not liking him for personal reasons, maybe. But what do you mean? Yeah. You didn't get him, but you were into him. Explain. Do explain that one time. You got to explain that one better because I ain't quite understanding. Weber, yeah, well, it's bittersweet for me because in college, I'm Fab Five. That's my team. But yeah, his NBA career wasn't popping like his college career. And sometimes he also like a deer in headlights. Like he had great hands. What's up? What's up? Yeah, well, I've got appreciate your time, appreciate the shout out, but go give me your Karl Malone thing because it's kind of puzzling to me. So do tell me. Hit me up. The same to you though. Respect and blood to you too. But tell me the Karl Malone thing because I'm kind of jarred me a little bit. I just want to know what you're. But yeah, me and Weber were like that too. Yeah, because he's the only one of the Fab Five that I had some expectations for. I think Jalen did pretty good. He did a bit better than I thought he was after he got, especially when he got to Indiana. Took him a while to find his groove. Had no expectations for Jimmy King. No expectations for Juwan Howard. You know, he won with the Lakers. Remember, he got that ring. You forgot now. I can't call him overrated because they weren't expected to do nothing. He was a good player, unless you buy into that he was the Jordan of the West crap. But he was a good player though. Man, there you go. You get a ring. Jack Haley got a ring as a bench warmer. Adam Morrison got rings. I mean, don't they count? He did as big as he could. Some did. So when I back in the 90s, you got to look it up. Some did for a moment. I mean, Mitch was nice, you know, but that was more closer to Clyde Drexler. But Mitch was nice, though. because he did put up numbers. When I lived on the East Coast, no one knew who he was because there wasn't, social media. I think with Karl Malone, he made himself into a great player. He that fade away, he worked on his body, he got better. And me and Ted debate this all the time, who was better out, him and Charles Barkley. But Carl had the better career. We like Charles more, but there's no denying Karl Malone. There's a reason why he's top five scoring. You know, he put the work in. And I believe if he hadn't been flirting with um um yeah, he was. If he hadn't been flirting with Vanessa Bryant with that whole episode, he probably would have been brought back another year. Because I still think he had another year or so in him. They just didn't want the powers that be didn't want him breaking Kareem's record. I might do that as a video. I might actually have to do that as a video. Thank you, Tom, for mentioning this. That might inspire me. There's some truth to that. He would have beat up Vanessa too. What you think? Well, that's when he got in trouble. So, he probably would have put it out there and said, hey, you know, we'll never know. Yeah, but you know what she didn't tell you? She was underage when she was at them Laker games with that Kappa ride coming to see Kobe because she was a high school girl. But anyway, we don't talk about all that though. We don't talk about that. Called him too old, but that don't mean she didn't like him, no. What you mean what? What to what? What's the what? Tell me what you mean by what? Well, I think she was the perfect revenge if she wanted to use that payback because she was front and center. And Carl was married. Carl's wife was a dime too. But Carl married and Carl put it out there though, and so I think that when she said that called him too old at 40, she means she was checking him out though. She knew what she was doing. But see, she and Kobe almost broke up twice though. That first time before he got busted in Denver, and then the second time was 20 and '09 or so. It was one of those times. But he would have had to give up half his estate. Probably so. Probably. For revenge. For revenge. I mean, she had a tough marriage though. They fell out bad. They never wanted him to marry her, and it was black and Mexican. He wasn't gonna fight him. But he probably told me he was a tacky turkey for that move. But if I'm Karl Malone, I'm gonna tell you why it was all bets were off. Kobe, you distracted a year that the Lakers could have probably won the chip because of your foolishness. So it was fair game. Because you do dumb things, get dumb results, get dumb reactions. Yep. So I do hold him accountable for that how that year went because he had to fly out doing practices and all that. He put Shaq under the bus. Shaq wanted to break his neck, and I never got over that. And I never got over that one game they played against Sacramento, and he pouted because Phil said he was being a ball hog and being a brat. He scored 8 points in that game. I think it was, yeah, it's about 20 years ago. He acted like, and he did. You knew how it ended because after the season ended, Phil stepped, Shaq got traded, and no one could deal with him. So, yeah, I know she's gonna be drafted number one. If I'm her though, who should get drafted by? If I'm her, I'm thinking about what Ice Cube said though too. Okay, she could be good for Tyler Hasbur's situation. Thank you, Tom. He put a $4 million house on her finger. I remember that press conference. And he was like, "No, baby, I ain't do nothing." Yeah, he was up there crying, singing like R&B song. He was up there like R&B song, like he put a house on her finger. I had my homeboy ask me, he said, "What you think?" I said, "If you put a house on someone's finger, that tells you all you need to know." It did backfire on him because Nike dropped him. He lost his. Because I remember around that time, I went to the local waterfront, and Nutella, that nasty peanut butter was being. His face was on there. And that's before they yanked it off. That nasty peanut butter. Ooh, that stuff nasty. But anyway, he was product pitchman. And then Sprite dropped him, McDonald's dropped him. And then it took about 2006 and where he scored 81, all that. Then everything came back. Because David Stern had him in punishment timeout. He suspended him like he did Jordan. But anyway, different thing. But that's what happened. I remember it like yesterday. I remember how it went down. So I believe he had that was the suspension. They got his product because you gotta remember Stern was a lawyer. Stern made stuff happen. People don't be understanding how them dons be operating behind the scenes. And Kobe was very polarizing. And the only thing that saved his behind was that chick had dirty draws. That's the only thing that saved him from a case. Just keeping it 100. Yeah, he was suspended. I already knew. Stern had that thing already, you know, because I watched David Stern operate. He does what he want to do. Negroes have to dance to him like they do Adam Silver. I ain't lying. She had messed with three other dudes, and they left their they left their business, left their calling card in there. That's what saved them. I kid you not. She was a skank. Oh, that river, that report was was hilariously sad and sick. And she was a dirty trick. Saved his behind though. That's what saved him. She was pulling a Monica Lewinsky. I guess she was gonna try to say, "Yeah, here it is." Dirty trick. Dirty trick. He was, because he had this chip tooth prosecutor. That beady eyed rascal, that bigot wanted Kobe lynched. I saw that turkey in Colorado. That white boy was beady eyed. He wanted him. He wanted him. I look it up. He wasn't, because he pouted in the finals against Detroit. He sat there and let Tayshawn, he sat there. She didn't brag too much because she got settled out of 10 mil. She kept it non-disclosed. That's why you never heard anything from her. Only the person that brought it up was Gayle King, the Snoop. That's when Gayle came out and the R. Kelly thing. That's it. No one talked about it. Not really. He was reckless against Detroit in the finals. He sucked. And he let Tayshawn and Rip play him on the perimeter. He was just wild and he was out of sorts. No, he didn't look good in that game. I don't think he really came back and changed his thing to 06, if I'm honest. Because 05, he was playing reckless, and they got rid of that first coach before Rudy Tomjanovich came in, and they just stunk. And he just looked out of sorts. He looked out of sorts. It took him a couple years to really get his groove back. 05, 06, he came back better, but he was out of sorts. And then he was frustrated because he choked that Phoenix series, as Ted will tell you, and then he wanted Bonham, everybody traded. Now, Rudy was, plus, you got to have a certain ego for Kobe. Rudy and Olajuwon, because Olajuwon was older and they had role players, wasn't going to work with Kobe. Wasn't going to work. That's why they had the big Phil to come back, and they had the big, and Phil said, "You have to listen to what I want," and they worked it out because Phil read him the riot in his book. Phil said, "I can't coach him." Ran Shaq off, and I can't coach him. That looked like that was a dagger. So sometimes now you wonder why the Lakers act funny or how they are in hindsight. So, you know, they did a lot to get him to keep things going. That was a very strange odyssey until Paul Gasol got there. It was not good. Um, well, he's probably, because his brother, I think, wasn't his brother upset with Dak. Nobody in their right mind want to be dealing with old meathead McCarthy and old Dak Whack. That's not going to be a good look. That's not going to end well. You already know. And they got a good receiving core. It's just that they don't have a leader. I don't know what they're gonna do with their running game. They got a lot of unanswered questions. And that loss to Green Bay might haunt they behind. It just might. Philly might have just gotten better. And we'll see what happens with an Atlanta or somebody, because believe me, I'm gonna say it right now. They're gonna be somebody you didn't see. That's gonna be Dallas on the line that they gotta get better. I don't know. I don't know. And if you're Jerry Jones, you got to be sick, because you didn't saw Brady run through and get a handful of rings, and now you're going to have Mahomes. Yeah, what about him? Rolando was a bad dude. I remember Michael Finley. I was talking about Michael Finley. We were talking about Finley about a week ago. Orlando was a bad dude. Finley and Black kind of like similar. Back when Derek Harper played it too. Better bag. He is. That's a great question. Let me see. Who I would I say if I had to pick? It's close, but I got to give it to Reggie White because what he did in Philly, he was power. Then he come to Green Bay, and he had a trajectory that Bruce was athletic and freak, but Reggie's technique, I have to say, Reggie's bag was a bit better. Yeah, I remember because they played when he was in high school. Finley was back in the '90s, and he was nice with it. There was different era though. Yeah, he was. Um, Crawford, because they both could cross you up and shuffle, but Jamal had more handle going. With Nick, once you figured out how he likes to go hard right or left, that was it. Yeah, my dude was sick with it. Our dude was bad boy. If he played with Denver right now, they definitely come out the West easily because he didn't have that to work with, and the era is a lot different now. Okay, so a better bag means that they got more offensive options, like whatever they're doing. Except when we're talking football, you asked about Reggie White and Bruce Smith, but usually it's about offensive options. Means the guy's more versatile. He can bring you more. It's better when I say it for offense, especially in basketball, because it's kind of hard to describe it in football, unless you're talking about quarterbacks or running backs. It's kind of hard. It has to usually be offensive players. That's why when I was talking about Bruce Smith and Reggie White, it was kind of difficult because, but a better bag is like, you know, they because what we had this discussion a few weeks ago, LeBron James came out and said you offensive bag is overrated. And I'm saying, you know, and I'm like, yeah, right. Well, because you simple with your game. If you don't bulldoze, bunny hop, flip rock, and then sag and then dunk on somebody, or you don't shoot the long range threes or fades, you don't have a real signature offensive thing that you do, LeBron. Your skyhook is cornball. Your fade or your deep shot is one thing. So, which LT are you talking about? Because if you're talking about the LT that I'm thinking of, yeah, he's top five all time. Yep. Oh yeah, for a defensive player, he was a freak. If a defensive player has a bag, they the game changer. I only seen two in my lifetime, and that's LT and Deion Sanders. That's the only two that I would say that about. Everybody else would be a running back or quarterback. I would not say that about defensive players, but those two are the exceptions because they changed the context of the game. Because LT could win games. It's not the same. It's technique, but it's not the way I look at it. when we talk about, we talking pure offense where you can make it in terms of the running game, your quarterback, your receivers. You're looking for like to get excited. Offensive linemen, I'm gonna respect them for their strength, their ferocity, and what they do. But I don't really, I don't put them in the same category as I do quarterbacks or running backs or receivers because it's not the same. Tight ends either. And it's unfair. It's unfair, but that's just the way it is. We don't look as linemen on offense or defense in the same as we look as, you know, yeah, they both do have sons that play. And they got a better chance to get in the NBA before Bronny James too. But that you ain't hear from me though. Yeah, Trent's nice. I like Trent. That's not why they don't win Super Bowls though. Just so you know. It's got nothing to do with that. Nice try. Try again. This ain't Jeopardy, but keep on trying. That's not why they don't win Super Bowls. You know why they don't win Super Bowls. Because if that were the case, they would stack power rings. That's right. And in the inconsistent quarterbacks or whatever don't go through. That's their problem. It ain't about the what they got on the line. They the most stacked team in the NFL, talent wise. But why they stacking talent, Patrick Mahomes is stacking jewelry. Yeah, they do. They've always had a good offensive line. That's not the Ravens' problem. Their defense sucks though. Their defense is garbage. And they never get enough balance at wide receivers. And they just like they get out coached now. Harbaugh keeps getting out coached in the postseason. So other than that, they're right where they should be. Yeah, I know. Like I'm not saying offensive lineman ain't great, whatnot, but what we look for when we had this discussion, which started with LeBron James, is because we talk about offensive particulars. We don't, we're not talking about in the trenches, you know. Well, yeah, but one of the problems with coaching is can you coach ego? Can you coach up to a level? Can you bring up the performance? And a lot of these coaches can't. They don't know how. They don't have the moxie to do it. Everybody can't coach certain type of talent. It shows. That's why you got a guy like Andy Reid who you call him Zales because he a jewelry store now. He figured it out. He got the best player. They got the best team. You know, so got a chance to make history too. So, and they're the only current NFL dynasty going. How you figure? How you figure? Quarterbacks have always won Super Bowls to an extent. It's just that because if you go from the last 20 years, it's been quarterbacks, but it's been a mix. It's been a mixture. It's been a mixture. And when you say today, you're probably talking about since, yeah, but all coaches make adjustments. The good one, the ones that are inconsistent, the ones who don't usually get their butt fired or they done. I think quarterbacks started winning Super Bowls to figure your argument. I want to say, I'd say ever since Brady, ironically, the guy who went from a game manager to a, because when he beat Seattle and Atlanta, there you go. Those are two good examples to fit your argument in the last 10 years. The last time that I could say was defense was when Carolina and Denver, when Von Miller, because Peyton was garbage and he was on his last legs. But the Brady runs, especially the last 10 years, that was the quarterback. And in Mahomes' case, quarterbacking. I give you that. When Nick Foles won quarterbacking, so I'd say in the last 10 that's been more common. I don't know and I don't care. It makes me no difference. I like to think New Orleans comes out and plays better though, because they can't do no worse than they did the other night. That was embarrassing. And Zion need to be ashamed of himself. They might be trying to throw it, but I don't know why they'd want to play Sacramento Golden State in a win or die game. I don't know. And the only reason why I would say they would do it is for reasons that you haven't brought up. Yeah, I already did a video about that, and we don't want that. But the reasons why I'd say that, the only reasons why I think they would do something like that you said, you know why. Let me see if you can guess why. Brady is good enough to start for about, nope, nope. Brady could come back for about 6 or 7 teams, but he really want to come to Frisco. That would be like his ultimate dream fantasy. Can he win with Montana? But I also think it's because Mahomes is cashing in on them rings. He's got a couple incentives. Yep. Stop Mahomes and win in Frisco. That would be his fantasy, but that ain't gonna happen. The question was, it was addressed to Ted, because Ted was asking about the Lakers, and I said, you do know why they would consider throwing the game tonight and possibly playing Golden State and Sacramento. That's what we're talking about. And I said, I want to see if he knows what my answer is. The reason why I think that what is up, because if my sources are correct and what this is going to say, and no one else has said it, I'll say it here on this live stream and you can bottle it up and run with it. I think that they won't, if they blow it tonight and that situation occurs, that means Darren Ham's days is numbered as Lakers head coach. That's what that means. Mr. Ham is playing for his last days and times as the Lakers head coach. They done with him. And they've been too janky and hit and miss. It won't work. It won't work. It would backfire. I tell you why it'll backfire, because if they lose tonight and they got to play Sacramento Golden State, and they haven't had much luck, if those guys catch fire, that could backfire. But I think it's to get Darren Ham out of there. That's what I think. If they lose tonight, Ham's coaching for his job. And I'm gonna tell you like this: if LeBron was about 5 or so years younger, Ham would have been fired after they won that Walmart banner thing, that playing garbage. He was been fired in December. He's lucky that LeBron is old and on his last legs. That's the only thing that's saving his behind from getting toast. Because they've been trying to get him up out there for a minute. Of course they would. Back to back years, you're playing team. Yep. They got him over a barrel. So if they don't go deep, anything don't happen, they're done with him. And then LeBron is at a stage now where he knows he don't have but so much time. So, and they don't have a squad that you're gonna keep. There gonna be major turnover. That's why I know the Trae Young thing is real. Nah, I don't want him back. What he gonna do there now? He too old now. He too old. The most twisted one would be Bron into Charlotte. That would be twisted. But if this was about, and this was a few years back, Bronny would definitely. Mm, nah, they like them foreign players. They ain't gonna take no cat from the states that's below average. But if he goes to like, you know, we'll see if that comes out the pass. Because I haven't seen it all year long, Tom. I haven't seen it all year long. I ain't really seen a lot of motivation. Not really. It's been a pretty dreadful year, but there is some intrigue in possible playoffs if the things come to play. I know it's a different thing. A lot of make or break years this year. Clippers are one of the teams. They're one of them. Both LA teams are make or break this year because there's going to be some major heads rolling. I think Miami's on that list too. Phoenix is on that list. All them old teams are on that list. Why you jiving? Golden State's on that list too. All that's on that list. Shoot. You know, I don't think they do. I don't care if they do or they don't. I really don't. I told you, I'm not. I don't think that LA Golden State deserve the playoffs personally. I'm sorry, I just don't. I'm not feeling it. Yeah, I'm big on Clay too, but he got to come off the bench though or play his role. Can't start no more. Cause I'm sorry, but you just can't wheel and deal and move me when you've been mediocre all year. It's not buying it. I'm down with Clay. Y'all say y'all like Clay, but if I tell you one thing, if he gets game six, Clay, and he get hot, that could be a problem. We'll see how much you like him then when you got to deal with him if he comes to that. Yeah, he needs help, and that's why I don't think they should make the playoffs. Because if they haven't played like a championship caliber team, and unless you stat padding and going through the motions, you're not really playing. You're not a threat. They can't beat OKC. They can't beat Denver either. They just need to play poised and loose, and they could be a problem. They are your new Memphis Grizzlies. So we'll see. There's a new team coming up. We'll see. He nice. Chet's nice. Only gonna be room to grow. And he gonna be, I give him about 2 or 3 more years. He'll definitely stays consistent. He gonna be a problem. Don't be surprised if there's big battles between him and Wimba. So Jokic. Jokic and Shea are my 1 and 2. That's my 1-2 right there. And Luca's third. Those are my top three. I got Jokic, Shea, and Luca. The first two, I can make a debate for both. If Dallas was better, I would have made a case for him. But they're the top three I didn't see this year. And I don't care after that. Now, Joel Embiid got robbed because I believe if he had been healthy and whatnot, that would have been a strong. But them three are my main three, and that's it. I got no one else I'm going to mention. I'm not mentioning Jason Tatum because they won all them games. Their season ain't really left no impression on me. Yeah, well, I agree 3 of them. The fourth one, I am not picking Tatum. They could make a case. I could make a case. I could definitely make a case for him. Considering what he's got to work with and play with, he's got it way easier than Tatum's got it. Mhm. Yeah, he's playing great basketball right now. He's making his free throws. His teammates is playing better. And between you and Tim Legler, you've been hollering, so they could be a problem. I would love to see them in Denver in the Western Conference Finals. That's it. Just keeping it 100. Because unless OKC does something strange or Minnesota, Denver and Dallas is the best two teams I see in the West. Yeah, Kyrie's balling. I did a video about that. I don't know who's the future. You got Tim. Who's the future? Okay. Mm. Yeah. There you go. Mm-hmm. They will. They definitely will. The athletic team, and I still think probably about a year or so. Probably need a name, someone to come along, but they are definitely. Mm, you sound like a hater. The SGA part I'll give you, and Luca third, but Tatum and Joker, you need to flip that one. Because if you're going by a regular season wins, but Joker, uh, he doesn't have the equivalent to Brown or Porzingis. I don't see where Tatum should be ranked so high. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, yeah, it rose my eyebrows. He explained it away. Okay. See, my coach of the year, probably a boy from Orlando or OKC. Take your pick. I got to give one of them two the edge. That's the two that come to mind. I mean, the Orlando thing is, because it doesn't happen often, but OKC didn't see them being top ranked, so I think you can make a case for Eastern Conference and Western Conference. I think you can. Yeah. Hmm. Now, no, I can't give Missoula no love for Boston because he took over Udoka's team and they pretty much, yeah, Udoka, if they had a gone 41 and 41, I would have said average. They didn't finish up strong. I believe me, he's in the top 10 consideration. He definitely top eight. I would definitely say 6, 7 for sure. Because the Rockets definitely got a bright future, but they got to get more discipline. They need to get a piece or two, but they definitely got a bright future. And Udoka got them in the right direction. They just didn't finish at 500. Yeah, that's Adam Silver's not that different from David Stern. White folk, you go over there to that plantation. You going over there, boy. But you going over there, boy. They sniggling and laughing. That's what they did back growing up. Kid you not. I told you back in the day. I remember when Chris Webber was crying on Jawan Howard's shoulder in 97. I gotta go to Sacramento. Oh, where's that at? I'm telling you, before you see these new heads that got social media will never know what it's like back in the day when you only had the newspaper and you had the AOL on Sunday. You'll never know what it's like to have to wait till tomorrow morning to find out what the score was in the West. And you got sent to a crap butt team. Your butt was in Argentina. You was way over yonder. Like, where you going? Where? Going to Washington today is like going to Saudi Arabia. You know they suck. And Detroit is like going to Argentina. It's bad. Yup. Yup. Cats did that all the time. All the time. Made that, except Eli made that stank poo face. You remember? He frowned and snarled his way out. Shit you not. People knew back in the day. Shoot. Of course, the Chargers were cursed, though. They had talent. They just didn't win nothing. I told you that'd be the most toughest team to be a fan of. But, yeah, man. I mean, now I'm talking about not where you drafted, but when cats get traded. It's that look of horror. Like that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about getting drafted. I'm talking about when you get traded. It's like where what? Because nobody wanted that face, and you know that face. I'm thinking, oh, because when Monte Williams got fired by Phoenix, and the only job you could get was in Detroit, he's like, I was in the finals 2 years ago. Like, you're right. You're right. That's all you get. That's all you get. Yeah, that was the ultimate. Like, he's going over there. He gonna do, and he came out and he got mad. But then, again, yeah, because nobody wanted to go there. I'm telling you, these cats make them faces. That's some of the biggest divas you'll find because that's that face. Like, oh, I gotta, yeah. Just like when Dylan Brooks got traded to Houston, it's like, mhm. Cats already know. They know. They already know. Good and well when you go into that's why Chuck Pascal, when Pascal got traded to the Pacers and he got out of Toronto, he's like, I got out of jail. I got out of jail. He was happy. Kid you not. Magic at the All-Star games, a lot of times when I was watching them back in the day, it hit so many moments where everybody looked good playing with them, and there were a lot of what ifs because, like, the Lakers would have been dreaming. Oh, yeah, if they'd have gotten Barkley, they would have probably won about two or three more rings easily. That would have been. That would have been. He'd have fit in great with Magic too, because Charles never had that kind of guy who could make it happen like that. He had to make it happen. Just saying. He would. Because he would have been a big force, and that would have been scary with him, James Worthy, and them coming up. That would have been something. Then you got Byron Scott off the bench. That would have been sick. That's the kind of person that would have worked. They would have probably given the Bulls a fit in the finals too. That's what they were missing. Because if he caught Barkley between 89 to about 89 to about 94, that's two rings probably. Well, they built around Moses Malone in case you forgot. So that was a build. I would say post Moses Malone, I'll give you. They brought Moses in with Doc. But after Moses, I'll give you. Andrew Tony's feet gave out. And we'll never know what that would have been like with him and Barkley. And then they just got a lot of guys who were decent guys, but they never landed that big fish. And they had nothing to support Barkley with because, let's be realistic, Boston was better, Detroit was better, and then Chicago got better. Now, now, now. Mm, who would I say that about? To me, Iverson was kind of like Michael Vick, if you want my opinion. If I had to say Marino, yeah, but he was scoring. He was a tweener, handle point, handle shooting guard, and he was kind of unlike anything that you hadn't seen. How he could get off like that. That's more Michael Vick than Marino. That's more Vic than Marino to me. Um, hmm, who did I look at? I'm trying to think of who did I look at. I'm trying to think who did I look at that was. Oh, could I pick on? To me, I would probably tell you. I'd either say Charles Barkley, or I'd say Karl Malone was like Marino of NBA because they put up crazy stats. Barkley only got to one finals, but you would have thought he would have gotten more. I would probably say Charles is more like Marino, and Iverson to me was more like Michael Vick. Just saying to me. Because Marino had that release. He wasn't the most athletic cat, but he had incredible. But you thought he was going to have multiple runs. Barkley fits that criteria. Iverson reminded me of Vic because he was elusive and he was giving you the ooh and ah. So that's who I would say if I was going to make a comparison. I say Charles Barkley was more Dan Marino because I thought more runs had a distinctive flair and he came up big. And remember, Barkley scored big in our defensive era too. He did. And he was always a threat to be an MVP or just didn't have the right situation. So we just gonna have to differ on that one. That's all. But that's what comes to mind for me. Yep, that's more Marino like to me. He was physical. He could get you. You know, he was probably like I could make a case an updated version of Elgin Bailey in a way. He was a hard cat to really pigeonhole because he had a quicker first step. He could go behind the back coast to coast on you, and he was a round mound of problems. You really didn't have an answer for his style. Inside out. Which one? Which comparison? Which one? Tell me which the good one because I'll answer which one was it. Yeah, because Elgin uh athleticism, his power, his display, and he was in the middle of everything. And he had a smoothness. Well, I tell you, when Oscar Robertson calls you the GOAT, that's a heck of a compliment. And Barkley had that finesse and that style. He could have probably been like a Baylor like player with Magic. Because he definitely had that strong coming off, he would have had that Karl Malone ferocity to hit you from the wing. Imagine if Barkley's playing the four and Kareem is posting and they do give and goes and go to the hole. It's a nightmare. They have size, they have speed, agility, and Barkley played undersized his career. That's why he's hard to really put on because he was 6'4", 6'5", and he posted. He played like a big. Let me put to you like this: you think the Sabonis gives Anthony Davis the blues? Could you imagine if he had to go against Charles Barkley? You think Sabonis gives him the blues? Not Sabonis. Yeah, Sabonis in Sacramento and Jokic. You think they give him the blues? Imagine if he had to go chase Charles Barkley around and get banged and post up and work him and put rib on him. And people don't realize how great Barkley was. Barkley's physical, and then he could beat you on the outside. Oh yeah, he'd kill him. Better shooter too. And Charles had handles too. That Charles that played from Philly was. It's just that they were better teams. Wasn't so much better players, but they were better teams. Because when he came into the NBA, Bird was going his run to win rings, and Bird was Bird. Magic was winning that, and Isaiah was doing his thing. Magic and Jordan was coming along, but there weren't too many people better than Barkley. Mm-mm. That's because they never got to see him play. I can tell you without a doubt. Yeah, he would have. He would have. The things that worked against Barkley is that Philly was old when he got there. Moses and Doc got older. And Andrew Toney got hurt. That's really in a nutshell. If Toney had been halfway healthy, we'll never know. And then he laggard in Philly. He had Rick Mahorn, he had Hershey Hawkins, and he had Hornacek. They weren't really guys that's going to get him to another level, but he still balled. But if I remember when he went coast to coast behind the back and coming at you, there's a reason why people ask who was better, him or Karl Malone, because it's pretty close. Because Barkley was a handful, and he was MVP, but he was tough. There weren't too many cats that were better than him, peak and prime. And LeBron would have a problem with him, because Barkley could take you. He could take you. People look at the rings and they look at the success, but if LeBron doesn't get what he gets with Miami and what have you, he ain't that much better than Barkley. I think the 2012 Heat because of Dwayne Wade. I don't think there was another player that Phoenix had that was going to see D Wade. I think Barkley, Braun cancel each other out. Miller and Marley cancel each other out. But I think the Dwayne Wade factor and Bosh would have been a problem. Styles wise, I think Miami gets them because of the Bosh and Wade. I think it goes 6. Now, to me, the scariest player Phoenix had then was Reggie Dumas. He's often forgotten. You got to be a basketball geek or a nerd to even bring him up. But he was the guy that I thought could have stirred. No, I think it's Reggie Dumas. Reggie was the one. He showed me something in that finals. KJ and them got neutralized by the Bulls guards. They got neutralized. I never looked at KJ as taking over. I thought he was, Richard Dumas. Richard Dumas, that's right. I say Reggie. Richard Dumas was the dude. That was the dude to me. This is why we have live chats, because I never talk about this in a general video because it would never come up and I would probably get about 3 or 4 views. Oliver Miller, before he became Fat Albert, could move. He just chose to eat up half the buffet. Chambers was kind of long in the tooth. He was still good, but he was on the downside. The Tom Chambers of 86 through 89 would have been a problem. Danny Ainge was long in the tooth too. They were good enough to get out, but I didn't think they were a championship team. That series against Chicago was odd as all get out because both teams won on the opposite floor. And Phoenix looked like they were starstruck. They got out coached, and they didn't really get cohesive until it was too late. It was a very awkward, and they never stopped Jordan at all. He feasted on them. They weren't really a defensive oriented team, and so they was trying to cherry pick. I just did, I watched it in real time. And I remember that game 6 because me and a buddy of mine went to Canada with two Asian girls. It was crazy. And that whole Paxson shot, that ball seemed like it stood up there in the air forever. Horace had one of them Draymond Green stat line nights. Yeah, you were. I'm telling you what it was like for me in real time. I understand, because I'll tell you what it was like in real time. Horace stunk it up. Contrary to him trying to team up with Scotty and Luke Longley, all that crying they doing. They ain't do nothing in that game six, especially Horace. Horace stat line was garbage. I think he scored like what 3 points or some mess. Big old soft goggles all fogging up. He didn't do nothing except make that pass to Paxson. And I tell you, that ball flew like it stayed up there forever. It was a strange series though. It was strange. Because as great as yeah, he was. Great as Jordan played, that was a winnable series. Phoenix just couldn't get no stops on him. He tore they behind up. Yeah, I don't pay him no mind. Don't get it twisted. He was instrumental in them winning because of the fact of his size and he played his spot to an extent. But he wasn't some, you know, he didn't finish up nothing. Hated when turkeys talk trash when I can remember it verbatim what they did and what they were. Now you were younger, not aware, and not seeing it and understanding it, but I saw it. I don't want to hear that garbage come out their mouths. Horace got redemption when he went to Orlando. I'll give him that. Even though when Jordan came back full tilt, tore they behind up, then he had to go ship his butt to LA with Shaq. But no, that was a strange series though. I watched that mess in real time. It was strange. Because Barkley was in awe. They didn't finish, and that was the start of Phoenix just being like how they were in 94, 95. He had to. He had to. Well, I think Phoenix matched them, and Phoenix got some contributions from here and there, but you know, but they were a better team. Scotty was able to get a few stops. They did the tangible things that they could do. They got a few plays here and there. But if he don't play like he played, they don't win none of them series. That's the fact. Because the only series that he ever got neutralized in to me was against Seattle. The Lakers series, the Lakers were old. They got hurt and they didn't have the juice after game one. Was not they what the Bills were a better team too. They had a better bench. Sean Kemp played out his mind. They made him play ugly. But see, Rodman won that finals for the Bulls. He was the MVP as far as I'm concerned. He stole 2 games. Because Jim McElwack didn't do nothing. They couldn't stop Rodman. Rodman was the difference. I think they aside from game 3, the Bulls looked pretty ordinary. They were up 3-0, but they looked pretty ordinary. There was some ugly basketball, some bad outside shooting. Mac or something. He was a center, and he played. I call him Mac-a-Whack because that's what me and my boy used to call him. Because Rodman got in his head. Rodman was in their head. I know game 2, and I want to say was it game. Yeah, well, that's why I call him Mac-a-Whack. I don't be remembering no busters' names. You the one that be remembering them names. I don't be keeping up with these busters. Oh, Whack crying, Whack like he want to fight because Rodman was pulling on him. Man, I don't know what Rodman said to him. Rodman must have called him cute or something. I don't know. Got him all out of his game, messed his head all up, head scratching, digging all in his, digging all around. I don't. And that's where you and I differ. I don't. I don't know him. I don't know him. Can't do nothing for him. Back in the day, I was just laughing at you, but because I knew what was going on. And see, you can't go into no finals with no must have been. It was something crazy. But I know that he got in their head because George Carl came out and said because they did a pretty good job against Jordan and Pippen. That was probably Jordan's lowest scoring finals. He didn't, it wasn't so much that Gary, and I think took the foot off the gas a little bit, but Sean Kemp got off. Kemp got off. But because George Carl wanted to shoot the three ball and back tap and not rebound, that's what happened. And Ryman, when they started putting bodies on Gary, they brought Harp, Kukos. They got physical with them, and they kept the game close. It wasn't a memorable series. It was a pretty ugly series. But if you ask me the different things in the series that the Bulls won, the '90s was under the Lakers overachieved, under talented, and got old, and it just didn't have the parts. Scotty called Portland the dumbest team in '92. I remember that. They weren't underdogs to me because the Lakers stole that one from Portland. Magic had Vlade Divas, okay? Sam Perkins, and they weren't, no. Worthy got hurt. Who else who got hurt? But they weren't on the Bulls level. Paxson, the bench was better for the Bulls. Jordan was playing great, but it was not a good. It was a close series, but the Bulls had better talent. And then against '92, Scotty called Portland dumb. He said they were dumb, which they were. The Suns just couldn't then finish out. They had that 15-point lead in the fourth quarter, and the Bulls came back and beat them. Oh, Bobby Hens hit all them shots for the Bulls. That was a strange series. And then '93, I mentioned how strange that was. But they were a better team than Phoenix from the starters. Phoenix never really had depth. Then Seattle, because the way they played and mentally they didn't prepare. George Karl was playing a certain way, which just didn't have all his boxes checked. And then against Utah, I think really what hurt Utah was not having a center. Because they did everything better, but they didn't. I'm going to take the old three Spurs because Parker and Ginobili were coming along. And Dave Robinson was a blocking machine. Underrated. He had a SWAT party going on, and Duncan was Duncan. I'm taking him. See, the strange thing about that Rockets run is this. I probably wouldn't take them over anybody else at the point, but I will say this. They were hard. They weren't the team you wanted to deal with. Not if they could bring their best. But the old three Spurs moved me more though. 20,000 Lakers, man. Nobody was messing with Shaq. Mm-mm. Wade and Kobe would have canceled each other out. LeBron happened to deal with Fox. Could have been a problem. Benches would have been about even. Phil would have made an adjustment, but you're not betting against Shaq. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I haven't seen since then another team that's had a guy that was on that mission and was just and like he was playing in 2000. I haven't seen that team since that player. Not in the finals, I haven't. Not even as great as Jokic has played in the last year in the finals. But again, he didn't play nobody the equivalent to that. Just saying. But Shaq was no. Shaq was on a mission that year. I take the Heat in 7 because the reason why is because nobody got hurt from Miami. Now, I think if you're asking me because Dwayne Wade played out his mind, he was big. And if I remember Toronto's run, everything came to a last drop or somebody. They did a good job on Steph to an extent, but they didn't stop him. But you got to remember, if Durant doesn't get hurt, that's a different finals. If Clay doesn't get hurt, that goes 7 games. So there's so many things that worked in their favor. You could say Miami worked in the favor with the rest if you want to, but they beat Detroit soundly, and they were good enough to get to the finals. I think that was Kawhi. Kawhi was playing great, but I think Miami would have gotten that one. I think Miami gets that one. Because a lot went for Toronto's favor that year. A lot. That's a good one, though. Makes you think. Ooh. I'm going to take the Sixers. I was one of the best teams I ever saw for 1 year run. I got to go with the Sixers. Because Moses would have cleaned up Rodman. And Billy Cunningham could definitely coach up with the bench, with Mo Cheeks, Andrew Toney. I think Tony and Jordan would almost cancel each other out. Dr. J's and Scotty would have been interesting, but I think the Sixers get them. I do. That's one of the best 1 year run teams I've ever seen. We're just talking about NBA Finals, what else, and just sizing up. That's all. We just talked about it. There's some good choices and topics. Yeah, I think that because a lot of people forget how bad Andrew Toney was. He was the original Boston Strangler. So I think that would have been, you know. Yeah, he was. Okay. Oh, Golden State's gonna win that. They're gonna win that because I hate to say this, and because you wanted to pick this, let me tell you what the difference would have been. It would have been Draymond Green and Nick Anderson, and Draymond would have been more. They were more problematic. The Magic were puppies back then. Shaq wasn't. Shaq would have. They would have. They would have ran him into circles. And Penny up against Steph and them would have been interesting. But Clay would have been a problem. Draymond would have been a problem. Dennis Scott, can he match Steph and Clay? No. So now. Mm-mm. No. And they were fresh at the time. Golden State had been to a finals. It was a 7-game series, and they took all that, and it was a battle test. So he was known as the microwave. He was the microwave. Vinny was nice back in the day. He was nice. He was nice. That's what they used to call him, the microwave, Vinny Microwave Johnson. Yeah, he would just ask to score, which he did. Dale Curry was nice too. Yeah, like Joe D. I like a lot of those cats back then because it was a different era. And when you can talk about those guys, you talking about guys that if they played in a different era now, they would have been, different era though. That was a different era. Well, he got the ring and he went to two finals, so that's all he could ask for. 80 and Thomas D get along. Is that true? Um, there was tension as far as the way that they played, but the they was a generational thing too, and it was a control thing because Isaiah wanted the team a certain way. AD was a different type of mindset, so it was going to be a problem. Um, Funny that it ends up being Zeke became too black too, because Zeke couldn't sell to corporate America. Danley wouldn't give corporate America the time. Zeke couldn't be sold to corporate America despite winning rings and winning a college title and all that. Notice Zeke had that same problem. They got Mark Aguirre, but he still got a ring though. But that's what was up because Mark Aguirre and being a Chicago boy with Zeke, that's what's up. My pet peeves with Zeke is just basically he's petty. Zeke's too petty. That's all. He's still petty to this day about Jordan and everything. He's so petty. You know, loved him as a player, but he's too petty. So, you know, and I understand why he feel like he feel because he scared a lot of them white folks. He's up there winning the title, and he's up there singing Ohio players. Heaven must be like this, but he didn't say his stuff, sing stuff. And white folks be like, well, look, we want you to be singing like Tone Loc, and he up there singing R&B songs. So, he turned a lot of folks off. He scared a lot of folks, you know. He never got his due. And I feel for him in that regard because he was a multiple winner. He went to multiple finals. He did the thing, but they just didn't want to give him no money. They give him no commercial. He smiled, but he didn't smile like magic. He didn't smile like magic. He was never embraced like magic. He gets so muted when people talk about, he never gets his due. Yeah, I gotta go back and remember, but yeah, Mark, they did. Mark Aguirre was tight. He was tight. Zeke, to me, he smiled like he was up to no good, though. That's the difference. Magic showed teeth. Yeah, Mark was bad. He was over there in he was over there in Switzerland playing for Dallas though, because Dallas was like Switzerland in the 80s. They were good, but they never gonna win nothing. They had one year where they did go to the Western Conference Finals. James Donaldson was there and Rolando Black. I remember, but may as well been in Switzerland. They weren't gonna get nowhere. Yeah, that's why I don't trust him. I look, I loved him as a player. I hold him in high regard. I can make the case. You can make the case of him as the GOAT, but I don't be liking how his. I see him over there on X, and he's still stepping, fetching. Yeah, he do show teeth. And don't be trusting that used car salesman that smokes, especially brother. I remember Miles Davis talked about it in his book because Miles Davis was the one the first time I ever read anybody talk about it. He was talking about Louis Armstrong. He said I loved him. He said, but he showed teeth too much. That was an old school pet peeve amongst old black folks. Just don't be showing all that grinning, all teeth, no conversation. You just show teeth all the time. You know, there was, there was. Them Chicago boys was, man, got some of the baddest players ever. Of course, you know it messed Isaiah up because Jordan came there and was bigger. Mm-hmm. That's one of them old school things, you know. All that grinning and shuffling. It goes hand in hand. Just, it's like you can see the whole neighborhood. What you grinning about? You know. Said everybody ain't Santa Claus, but you got nothing but teeth. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they do. That's all true. Sure do. Don't even know why they grinning. Some of them do. Some of them do. Or they think they're better than other black folks. Benji Waller. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Chicago got some notorious great players. I mean, there's a lot of talent in New York, too. I mean, you go different places. It's just that cats, i.e., drugs or prison or, something messed them up. I did. I responded to that video. I responded to it. Clarence ain't getting no wake up call. I saw his video. I commented after yours too. I saw it. He ain't getting no wake up. Ain't nothing gonna happen to Clarence Thomas. Ain't nothing gonna happen. He hung out with that white boy who owned that yacht. He probably got his ascot on now. Ain't nobody think about Clarence ain't got nothing to worry about. He don't care about that though. He sold out for the bag long ago. He don't care. He don't care. I mean, I could do videos on Clarence Thomas. That's too easy. He already won. He put white folks when let me tell you, when he was getting he called it a high tech lynching and against Anita Hill back in 91. I don't know if you ever seen it. I remember it like yesterday. Because I had white folks come at me talking about, you think he did it? Like, a black man gonna have to defend an Uncle Tom like him. He up there watching Long Dong Silver, watching pornos and teasing. He fondled. He didn't. He was showing a porno, but no, he was being inappropriate. He grabbed on that booty. Nita was stacked. Still is. You know who was hollering at her? Was Christopher Darden. She's a teacher now. But see, the thing about it was a big front thing. But the thing that cracked me up is that he had to have a hearing with Ted Kennedy asking him questions. I was like, come on now. The jokes write themselves. He got in 51-46, and he said, this is a high-tech lynching. I'll never forget. His curl almost drenched in his glasses. But he got over. Bushy Sr., president at the time, got him over. He was hysterical. Yeah, it's on video. You can see it for yourself. I remember it just like yesterday. I remember I got asked about that mess. I said, look, he's a sellout. And I said, it's an insult that this is the best y'all can get behind Thurgood Marshall. Is this as good as you can get? But see, he played his game. He was overqualified, underqualified, but he was the good Negro at the moment. They got what they wanted. And he got over. They do. Now, because I remember they asked Thurgood Marshall when they were celebrating the bicentennial in 76, they asked him, what did he celebrate? He said, I would have been a butler or a slave in 1776. What do you mean to celebrate? I remember he spoke out. He did. Oh, yeah, you got ballers in different places everywhere. It's just those are most notorious. It's just that it's about opportunity. You know, great basketball talent is like great musicians. It's just sometimes cats didn't want to put it with the politics or put the practice or go through it. It's not that cats didn't have the skills because you got talent out here left and right. It's just they don't want to deal with the politics. And if you play ball, you have to be organized. I played against cats. They just want organized ballers. They could play. It's just that organized ball means you have to discipline and, with your feet and your contact. That's all. Now, Thurgood had to go against white folks that were hating. He was Brown versus Boy Education. He dealt with the Kennedys. He dealt with LBJ. He dealt with Nixon. He dealt with all that. Of course he did. But that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted. That's the reason why everybody know Clarence got the job. We know. Everybody knows he was um, underqualified. He didn't have no place up in there. But they make it happen when they want, when you play the game. If the white folks was trying to get rid of him, they would try to get him taxed on hanging out with that billionaire cat he be flying on a yacht with. That's the only way they could get him for tax evasion, but they don't. Oh, he is protected. His ugly, bad-looking wife too, because they both were in on trying to fix the election in Arizona with Trump. They was all bought and paid for. She a ugly bat too. Yeah, he's in with the right folks. He's in with you know, just telling you, might be. I'm just saying they all bought and paid for. Hollywood. I mean, not Hollywood. Hollywood. They all the same. Yeah, she ugly bat, but she's in. Yep. They all in. I remember when he got sworn in and all that mess. I had white folks actually, a couple white folks come to me about, well, what you think? I said, "Pfft." So when you got Ted Kennedy asking you about morality, Ted Kennedy giving you a question in the Q&A, no, he wasn't like Diddy because he actually had an education and he didn't have to give up his cheeks for checks. That's not facts. No, no. Clarence, Clarence actually got credibility. Puffy gave up the booty. There's a difference. Booty for the looty. Clarence wasn't no. Clarence actually had some skills. He actually had some credibility. I mean, let's be realistic. All of them got to give up something. I mean, you got to have something that they trade off to let you get into their clique. But yeah, that's what Puffy got. Cheeks for checks. That's Diddy. I never felt about Clarence. Mm-mm. Actually, that's an insult to Clarence Thomas because he actually Diddy start off in the mail room and got all friendly with Andre Harrell and the whole thing on Uptown Records. You know the story and the history. It is a big difference, you know. Yeah, they do it in DC, but you gotta. That's what that dude who got busted in DC, the one that was the Milli Vanilli one, the one said he was Jewish and he had the glasses and they ran him out. Santos, that one was more Diddy. That was Diddy like, because he had no talent and he was just blaming everything. But you see, the sex part don't even jump off without the education part. But Clarence had the credentials to hang in there. He had the brain stuff to get some. Diddy didn't have none of that. Now they both got used for big agendas, but the difference is I can buy Clarence Thomas's role before I can Puffy's. There's nothing about Puffy you can sell me on because he's not musically talented. He's not a producer, he's not a writer, he ain't a singer, he ain't a rapper. So he had to give up some cheeks for some checks and play full squad. I never felt that about Clarence. And I can't stand Clarence Thomas. And of the two, I got more. I'd be more to listening to Puffy to an extent, but they both. But Clarence got the education. The education always went over me, but I can't stand neither one of them. Oh, they both show their teeth. You got to show teeth. Got to show teeth. He got an education in the industry, and he had a street education from his daddy. So his mama hooked him and schooled him. I know his game. I mean, the music industry is no different than politics. So you got to do something, but you know, you got to still have some sway though. You got to make yourself believable and credible. See, that's why the industry is fake. Cause ain't none of these rappers and none of these producers, MCs sit there and they bow down and kiss his ring. And why they kiss his ring? Because he had the Jew man pay his money and push him. That's why. I'll never say this on my regular videos. I will say it only live. But without Clive pushing the money for him, what was he gonna do? That's how he got over. And they kiss his ring. Notice. Puffy gets his ring kissed and his toes curl up. They know what's up. It's fake industry and these fake folks who be lying left and right, lie all the time. They be capping. They hardcore capping. They know what's up with Puffy because they had to do the same thing. Tell you, cheeks for checks, booty for the looty. I ain't trying to hear nothing they gotta say. Yeah, well, we talked about that already here. I had saw it live. I was watching the ESPYs Awards, yeah, because Ted pulled it up. It was like 8, 9 years ago. I remember watching it, and that's when Caitlyn was wearing that white dress, and Paul Pierce's neck went like, "What you looking at, P? Ain't you a married man? Didn't you just have a bride?" He has no shame because that's what the industry allowed. You get away with what you can get away with until you don't make no more money. There's no shame in that business. They don't care what you do. There is no shame in it. It's all about making us the hits. We don't care how you do it. Hook or crook. Took or made you look. That's why I understand when people say they love music but they hate the industry. I get it. It's a vile business. That's it. And if till they got no more use for you, you break every law known to man. She ain't setting him up. He put her in through that situation. But what happened when I mentioned it with that alcohol, he calling white folks out. That you ain't got our money, we gonna unload you. I what messed him up. And he ain't made no money through music. He made all his money through the revolt, through the alcohol, merchant. He ain't made no money through no music. She wanted money because she had to heal herself because she was owed that. That's what was up. She earned that money. He put himself in that predicament. He put himself in that predicament. Yeah. So he put himself in that predicament. I got no one to blame but him. He got arrogant and cocky, and white folks set him up, and he fell for the okie doke. So that's what's up. I'm gonna get ready to go because it's about time I go eat. Because I've been on here. It's been great. We touched on a lot of bases. Yeah, 3 or 4, but all of them are 3 or 4. Everybody got a bag to get in the industry. Men, women, dogs, cats. They all 3 or 4 in the industry. She played a role because she got pimped. She didn't ask to get pimped. He was into some freaky deaky stuff, and that's what ended up happening. I can't be mad at her because he got caught for what he been doing. And there was eventually gonna catch up to him. He was turning tricks and she got turned into a trick. I can't be mad at her. I can't be mad at her. Now she came into the business like that because she used to mess with this singer named Ryan Leslie, an artist. But she knew what she had to do. They all want money. And they all 3 or 4s and they all. Oh, he's done. He done. But that's done because they trying to get him for tax evasion. I don't think they're gonna get the sex on him, but they're gonna get him for some money laundering, which is gonna be part of it. OG Pimp 101, don't listen to Pimp. I don't know what you mean with that, but I'm telling you what I know. They gonna tie it to it, but they gonna try to get him for tax evasion. That's what it's gonna be like an Al Capone thing. That's what's up. That's how they gonna get it. It's gonna be a roundabout way that they do it. They never do it like how they did with R. Kelly. They got him for trafficking and running an operation, but they didn't get him for what they did. But it's a roundabout way that they do it. So that's how it's kind of jarred. Anyway, I'm gonna give it a roll. Peace, the best. Great talking to you, cats. Appreciate everything. Stay safe, stay warm. We're gonna run it back tomorrow, God willing. There's gonna be a lot to talk about. Thank you for everything. Appreciate you coming through. And I'm out.